Hey, Sunshine Parenting listeners, and welcome to something new and different. I invite you to join me and my friend Sarah Kuljis as we walk and talk together this week. So strap on your running or walking shoes and join us as we chat and give encouragement to each other and to you.
Well, hi. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Audrey. It's fun to be sweating with you this afternoon.
So just so that people know what's going on here, we've been meeting for the past few weeks at 4:00 on Thursdays for a walk and talk, and we have enjoyed it so much because it's like we get our exercise in and we get to catch up even when we're not in the same place. And so last week when we were chatting, we were talking about how we also, a lot of the things that we talk about together are like ideas and resources and things that we can do with our families and at camp and everything. And so we thought maybe some people would want to walk along with us for our little walk and talks. So this is our first one that we're trying to broadcast live, and just went through a lot of technological rigmarole and have no idea exactly what's happening here. But here we are. We're live, Sarah, I think. Hopefully on the Sunshine Parenting Facebook page, but perhaps somewhere else. I don't know by the time I got this deep into it. But anyway, so before we get started, Sarah, why don't you just, in case people don't know you or haven't heard one of your many times on the podcast, why don't you introduce yourself, my dear?
Well, sure. I'm Sarah Kuljis, and a longtime friend of Audrey Monke. I'm a camp director, and I'm a Gallup strengths coach. And I do some speaking here and there, and I'm a wife and a mom and a daughter and a sister, and hopefully a friend. And Audrey and I love these places where we can meet and really talk about how to thrive ourselves and how to help other people thrive. So it's been just a really synergistic relationship all along.
Yes, and I have been sharing with Sarah just some of my I think everybody's gone through a lot of like self-reflection and just over this past year about kind of how I spend my time and my work projects and all this stuff. It's really kind of turned everything upside down. And for me, one of the things that has really just keeps bubbling to the surface is that I feel like in this arena where this my parenting work, the podcast and my website and all that, I just feel like there's so much information, classes, so much stuff out there. And I love helping people and I love sharing ideas that help people, but I don't want to just be part of like noise. So that's been kind of something that I've been sharing with Sarah a lot. And the other thing that I've been sharing with Sarah is after this year of kind of working way more in isolation, I don't really want to do that anymore. Like I'd much rather like chat with you, Sarah. So maybe we'll just chat with each other. And maybe that'll be it. And it has nothing to do with anyone else, but we're going to just see if some of the things that you and I talk about, other people learn from. And if people like listening to our chats that we do during our walks, then we'll keep doing them.
That sounds like a plan. And hopefully more people than just us will come away with a little something extra. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm actually going to I'm going to release this as a podcast episode on the Sunshine Parenting podcast so that people can actually join us for a walk. Because I don't know if you're listening to a Facebook Live, I guess you could be walking while listening, but I think I'm just going to add it into the feed of the podcast so that people can literally be on a walk and like be walking while we're walking and talking and thinking with us.
Well, I hope y'all don't mind when I'm huffing and puffing, like going up a hill or when the resistance is really strong on the treadmill.
I have mine so slow right now. I think I'm at 2.7. I don't know what that is, but that's pretty slow because I was nervous with like trying to do all the, stuff. Maybe I'll speed up once we get going. But I'll probably be huffing and puffing too. Okay, so Sarah, some of the things that we've thought about sharing as we walk and talk, one is I just really love this concept that you have shared with me a lot about really thinking about your sphere, like our own sphere of influence. I think so many people are feeling like this really sense of like lack of control over all these bad things happening, both kids and adults. So talk about that idea of kind of that empowering idea of your sphere of influence.
Well, sure. I like Audrey, like you just said, this has been a year of feeling loss of control, and maybe at times feeling like the world's really chaotic, and the fence line keeps moving, and so that can be a discouraging and overwhelming place. It could cause a lot of anxiety. I've had conversations with young adults and my own children about that, and also wrestled with it myself, and especially through the early fall, just through time reading and praying and getting a little extra rest rather than stressing out as much, really came to the conclusion that I need to at least find the space in the world that I can have positive impact. It helps me stay healthy. It helps me stay a contributor of good in the world. And the fact of the matter is, my little pool, my tiny little pool of influence does make a difference. Even encouraging one of my children to be purposefully and intentionally, say, kind or brave around one conversation that makes a difference for one person that day. And so we've been talking together about what is your sphere of influence, big or small? Who can you bring change to? Who can you be an encouragement to? Who can you be a role model or an example for? Or just who can you listen to really well so that they have a safe place to go? And, it may be one person, but it might be your whole family or your neighborhood, or it might be the people you work with, or it might be the teacher that your kids are online with 5 days a week or 2 days a week. But each of us actually, if you think about it, if each of us intentionally and positively impacted our little circle, our sphere of influence in positive ways, multiplied by all of us, like that's a pretty big shift. That pebble in the water analogy, you toss a pebble in the water and the rings go out. I just feel very hopeful and optimistic around the idea that our little circle of influence actually can make a deep impact. Have you, Audrey, can you think of a time in your life that you thought something was small, but you found out it was deep?
Yes, but first I want to say hi back to Ann Driscoll. We have one comment. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Ann.
I don't know how to type a response, and I don't want to get that tendonitis thing I used to have on my hand when I was trying to type while walk. So I'm going to have to go back later and figure out the comments. But anyway, it's Danger.
Hi,
Danger from Payout. Anyway, so she's here listening to us, and she's super inspirational. She's had this amazing, she started running, she sold her business. She's like totally transforming her life right now, which is very cool. Anyway, sidetrack. First of all, when you were talking, one of the things I was thinking about is how people are so obsessed right now with like more influence, like more numbers, more likes, more everything, more like in numbers. And this is kind of like going back to what I was thinking about. I think a lot of that is just noise and numbers that don't mean anything versus like a phone call to one friend or reading a book together and talking about it could have a far more positive impact and might be a much better use of our time than trying to spend a lot of time creating something that will get a lot of likes or something like that. You know what I mean? So I feel I'm really compelled. Like I'd rather have fewer people who I really talk to and really have a chance to connect with and like share ideas with than some unknown number out there of people I don't even know, So anyway, so that's kind of, but anyway, the story that this is, I think one of the very first times I ever wrote a blog post, I wrote about this, but we were having a camp reunion, and this was like one of the first ones. So this was maybe in like the early 2000s. And a former staff member told me that on the first night of camp, like staff training, she had been cold and I shared a blanket with her, or I found a blanket for her. And I was like, okay, I don't even remember this. Like, you know what I mean? It's like my life is, I mean, there's just been so many little things that happen every summer and everything else. And I started thinking, it really hit me, the fact that the thing she remembered was such a small thing. And those kinds of things are really easy to do, you know? So it's like, you don't even realize, like, how many opportunities do we miss, and have I missed, of just little simple kindnesses like that that really could make a huge difference. So that really stuck with me, that just like how just by being a little more aware and intentional, you can maybe for that one person make a big difference.
That is a great story, because you know, there are times that we had forgotten what we did or what we said, and that ended up being a blessing to someone else. I think that honoring those little, small, deep things can even remind our kids or model for our kids that it's not in the big, loud trumpet often, but it's in that small whisper. And also there's a piece of, for me, I have found that if I'm feeling like I need to appeal to such a big group or influence such a vast number, I can start kind of giving them what they want out instead of being authentically myself or staying my course. And I think I am more true. I think I have a smaller group or in all that's out there, and you know, who likes and doesn't like. I'm fascinated by social media influencers. And my husband and I were on a trip pre-COVID, and we were in a place where there were lots and lots of young adults who were spending 45 minutes perhaps at a time doing a selfie in the right place, just to post that one picture. And their whole trip, we were in Chichen Itza, this amazing, amazing wonder of the world. And in the time we were there, this pair of young women spent all their time taking about 4 selfies. And I thought they missed the moment they could have lived. They were so working on posting that picture to gain followers. And, you know, if they had perhaps even shared something amazing about those pyramids instead, it might have landed differently and deeper on a smaller group of people. So it is intriguing. And I think that, I think if all of us are doing more small and deep and authentic, I think we would see a change and a shift.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Small and deep and authentic. That's how we should all live, for sure. You're so wise, Sarah, so wise.
We're all just getting through the day, baby.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that that you were compelled to share, and I just love this about you because you're all about the affirmations. What's like one of the things that we like to try to remind ourselves is different ways that we can like build people up and make them feel better. So so when we have these chats, we sometimes share a new idea or a way we can like build someone up. So what's a good way that we can, like, what are words we can say to either our children or someone we love to just like build them up this week?
Oh, I love that question. Well, I think when it comes to affirmations, the more specific we can be, I think it feels more true. And so whether you're talking to a child or a friend or your spouse, or, you know, we can say things like, good job, or that's great, but it's so broad, I'm not sure that individual knows what we thought was good about it. One of my favorite alternative affirmations then is, one thing I really admire about you is, so whether one of my kids finished a really, really hard subject or project at school, to say, man, you finished. And instead of saying great job, to say, one thing I really admire about you is your persistence. This took, so many weeks and so many drafts, and I admire how you stayed with it. If a child who's an adult say your perseverance is important, perhaps that perseverance will take a better hold. Perhaps that muscle will be stronger and it will transfer to more experiences of life. So what I admire about you is just a powerful thing. And it does throw young kids off when an adult says it to them, because it often is the other way around. But man, there's a lot of things I admire about the young humans in my life. So that would be my suggestion today.
I think we should do that for our spouses too, because I think,
absolutely.
and everyone. Okay, so I'll just do one. Sarah, one of the things I admire about you is I just feel like your resilience is amazing. I mean, I feel like over the past 10 months, you've received kind of a battering of sorts, just between like camp stuff and COVID, and then we had the creek fire that was like got close to both of our camps. And then now like a little bit of a windstorm. I mean, it's just like, are you kidding me? All these things. And yet every time I talk to you, you're just like ready to bounce back and ready to just like forge ahead. And you even like come up with new things like cooking all these new dishes for your family this summer since you had more time. So anyway, that's something I admire about you.
Oh, well, thank you. Can I go, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
I didn't plan this, but I have so many things I admire about Audrey. One of my favorite things that has rubbed off on me from you is when you get a good idea, you don't wait 100 years to maybe try it. You have this exuberance and energy, but also kind of a playfulness and a courage to say, well, let's just try it and see. And you don't, weight it down with all these crazy expectations. You say, let's try it. And so I have ended up trying new things that I wouldn't have done because of you. And I love that attitude of, oh, here's an idea, let's try it. What a way to live life. That is awesome. And it has just enriched so many things in my life in the last, especially I think 5 years, because of your lead to let's just try it. So one of my favorite things, please keep doing that in my life.
Thanks. Yeah, I was thinking like one of my New Year's resolutions is to try to not to try too many new things because I have too many things. But I appreciate that, and I do think that some of them will stick, right? Like, and I think it kind of goes back to that same thing. Which are the things that we do? It doesn't hurt to try, and you'll never know unless you try. And then you try and you see what helps people or what is effective, and then you can get rid of things that don't work. But I agree, and it's funny. I think you and I also share that we're kind of like. What do you want to call it? Recovering perfectionist overachievers.
Yes.
And I think in the past, before like I wrote a book or started a blog post or a blog post and podcast, I was so fearful to ever put anything out there. I had these ideas, but I didn't want to put anything out there because I knew that it would have mistakes. Like I knew that it would not work. There'd be either, grammatical things or there'll be tech things or whatever. So I always, like when I first wrote blog posts, I would rewrite and edit for like weeks before I would post one thing. And this is now, it's been a real journey for me to be more like, okay, you know what the heck? What's the harm of trying and just getting out there? And I think people kind of appreciate almost the glitches when they realize like, oh yeah, you know what? You have the same issues that I do when I try to do technological stuff or whatever. So anyway, but I appreciate that, Sarah. So another thing that we really thought, so we end up talking a lot about books when we're just talking books, podcast episodes, new like programs, resources, all this stuff. So we thought that during our walks with you all, we could share like some resource or idea each week. And so Sarah has one to share for this week.
Well, I'm excited about this one. So I was at work yesterday. So afterwards, I came home and I watched the inauguration. And not only did Lady Gaga slay the national anthem, oh my goodness, but I think my favorite part of the inauguration was the youth poet laureate who delivered the poem. And almost every inauguration, a poet laureate does share a poem, but there's never been one this young. And if you have not seen it, Amanda Gorman's poem and her presence and her passion were incredible. I've watched it 3 times now. It's about 4.5, 5 minutes. And it is so stirring and so beautiful. and so hopeful about topics of unity and moving forward. And it really is worth a cup of tea and listening to it a few times and maybe picking out a favorite line. It was really stirring, and she's going to be something. She really is going to be something.
I have to confess, I have not watched it yet. I watched like some of the music yesterday, but I heard Gretchen playing it for her class. It's an assignment for them to go through, and she's studying some different things. Like, I think it was alliterations. I believe it might have been some in the poem. And so I was kind of hearing it, but I need to sit down and just be like fully focused on it. So I'm going to do that tonight and like listen to it and just really learn about it. But you, of course, being you, delved into a little bit more about this amazing young woman. And what did you find out about her?
Well, actually, one of my staff found this out. We were all marveling at it over text this afternoon, and she had done some research and found out that Amanda had, when she was younger, a speech impediment and could not pronounce R's, the sound of an R. And so she was really challenged to think of different ways, different words, different sentences to use instead of R's. And apparently it expanded her vocabulary and the way she said things in really unusual ways. And that makes sense now as she was reading her poem, almost performing her poem, how she would articulate things in ways that I wouldn't have thought of. It was so beautiful and interesting and unusual and profound. And what a cool example of taking a hardship and something, really working for something good to come out of that. Again, super inspiring, and that meant a lot to me.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. Yeah, and I think those stories of just realizing like, okay, so whatever our issues are, like our setbacks or just, problems with doing certain things, how can we learn to do other things or add on to those to like help us in those other areas? I love that. That is so cool. Really, really fun. Okay, so what else did we talk about that we could share in our thing? Oh, first of all, I do want to share that one of the things that we talked about in terms of like what our theme is that, your camp name is Salsa at YSSC and mine is Sunshine at GAC. And we were thinking that like, this is our trying to give some encouragement, a little bit of salsa, which is kind of like the spice, the fun, the creativity, the zest, and the sunshine, which is light, optimism, hope, encouragement to everybody's day, right? And so that's kind of going to be the theme of our walks as we do these, however long we do these. And we'll just kind of, what we would love is for people to kind of join us walking while we're doing this, and then whatever, later comment or whatever you want to do, however you want to connect with us. But just hoping that maybe to encourage others to find a friend to do this with. Like if you have a friend that you've been wanting to connect with more and you're feeling like you can't, whether it's because of COVID or whatever, what about just finding a time once a week where you're going to walk together, even if you're in different cities or you can't get together in person. You can be on a treadmill or out on a trail or whatever, or you can just come with us too. We would love that. One of the things that we thought would be fun for us to share is our own like kind of personal sharing. So we haven't shared these ahead of time. We're just like going open for you guys, but we like to share our highs and lows of like the past week. So since we last connected, what's been going on and just sort of kind of reconnecting that way. So let's kind of finish with sharing those, and then we can kind of see where we are on our mileage and if we've walked far enough yet.
Fabulous. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I haven't even thought about what I was going to share. So let me think about that. Okay. Oh my gosh. No, I've got it. Okay. So high, we'll have to do two highs. One is, it is absolutely crazy. And you would never in a million years think that, like if you had asked me a year ago, I would have said there was no way. But last Saturday, our 17-year-old son picked up a brand new miniature Dachshund who weighed at pickup time 2 pounds, 8 ounces. He is so cute. He's unbelievable. So anyway, he picked up a brand new puppy. He drove like 2.5 hours to Maricopa to pick up this puppy. brought it home. And this little puppy is so cute, but I would say my high is watching my son as a teen father, which is like, we've been joking about it, but he's like so nurturing, and he's like always figuring out, like looking up things about food and how to potty train, and he's getting up in the night with his baby. And I just have loved seeing him do this. And I had heard, I've been hearing a lot about how pets have helped kids and adults through this quarantine time, and how like all the shelters are empty because so many people have gotten dogs. And we were really hoping to be done with dogs, like personally, just because our one dog is 10 this year is just kind of a hassle. Like when you try to go anywhere, and I don't know, it's always, we live out in the country. So even when we were just in the office, we kind of felt like, oh, we should come out and let the dog out. So it's just always kind of hanging over us, this responsibility. And we thought, now that our kids are older, we do not need another dog. Well, now during this past year, we've ended up with 2 new dogs here, but they're not really ours. One is our oldest daughter, Gretchen's, and then now this one that's Owen's. But the deal that's been worked out, because obviously Owen will have times in his future where he won't be able to take care of this dog, like he'll school and college and whatnot. He and Gretchen have worked it out that she will be responsible for his dog during any times that he can't be. So that was a really long explanation, but that was definitely a high. It's been just really super fun. And then also celebrating my husband's birthday last night was fun. It was just like another simple, small celebration, as everything has been, just with the family. But we had fun.
Remind me the name of the dog, the new dog.
Herbert.
That's right.
Is the new dog.
Herbert.
Yes.
All
and
right.
He's like this big. He is just so cute. And I've gotten to babysit already a few times, which is fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been practicing grandparenting, which is actually really fun. Yeah.
Reassuring to know that your youngest son is going to be a great daddy. He's going to have a little daddy muscles. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's so fun. Anyways, that's my high. How about you? What's been your high over the last week?
I think it was last night. Yesterday was Audrey's husband's birthday, but it's also my middle son's birthday. And my middle son turned 21. And because of where he goes to school and the way they were doing online learning, he took a gap year. And so then he got stuck at home with his parents. That's a really boring 21st birthday. In our county, there are no bars to celebrate at or restaurants. It's kind of closed down. And so this cool young man got to celebrate 21 with mom and dad and sister. And so I frankly was a little like sad for him that it wouldn't be amazing or funny or memorable. But as it turned out, from breakfast in bed in the morning to his friends from New York, Uber eating, delivering him his favorite fast food lunch to our door here, to he and my husband hitting a bucket of balls. And then in the evening, we had legal alcoholic beverages together, very appropriate, big Mexican dinner. And my family members all sent in a video toast to him to becoming a man. And it was hysterical, and it was so affirming and thoughtful. And then just some really thoughtful gifts. At the end of the night, I said, Jake, I know it wasn't like your 21st birthday in Granada where you were supposed to be on, a semester abroad. And he said, you know what? It was really a special day. And it was just fun to have the whole day focused on him. And it was enough. So that was my super high. And I'm so grateful for everybody's thoughtfulness. And also, it's just good to laugh really hard sometimes,
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. So many extra, I'm really grateful for all these extra moments with our kids over this past year. I know it's not, obviously it'd be so much better for them, and I'd rather them have their normal sports and life and school and everything, but I've loved the extra bonus time with kids who normally I wouldn't have as much time with. Yeah,
I agree. And I think my low this week was that wind event you mentioned. Camp, surviving, not getting to open this summer like y'all, surviving the campfire like y'all. And then out of the blue to have I think it must have been a 20-year windstorm, a big mono windstorm that even closed down Yosemite National Park. Like, it was a windstorm. And our dear on-site director didn't sleep all night, just heard crashes. And anyway, the buildings, not too many were hit, but a bit of damage, and the trees that are down. It's just going to be a big cleanup. And the power's out and all that good stuff. It so could have been worse. And we will recover. Absolutely. It's all fixable. No human got injured or hurt or died, but it's just, kind of, one more thing. I felt like 2021 was under the bad influence of 2020. Like, they're in cahoots somehow. Like the bad influence cousin or something. Teaching 2021 had to be. So, we talked to the insurance company this morning, and we will chug along. But I appreciate my on-site staff who will do the really hard work of cleaning that up and fixing things.
Yeah, and at least it's only January, so you have a lot of time.
Right.
But it's just, I know that feeling, though. It's kind of like deflating and discouraging when you just like overcome one obstacle and then there's like another one. It's like you're climbing up this mountain and then you slide back down and then you climb up again and slide.
Yes.
That's like the metaphor for like our world right now. It's like you work to do something and then, it doesn't work. So you go back and then anyway. But so I'll say my low, it's not as crazy as yours, but my husband's a super great gift giver. He always like remembers things from a really long time ago, and he, just is super thoughtful. And I've never been as good at something I want to be good at. And I, occasionally hit the mark, but mostly I'm kind of like last minute and not great at gifts. So I wanted to get him a new phone because it's something that he wouldn't get himself, but I wanted to get him a new phone with like the cool camera and, all that stuff. And so I thought I was being so good. I ordered it like 3 days ahead of time because it comes pretty fast. Anyway, I ordered the wrong one. So that's my low, is that I thought I was ordering the right phone, but it was like I ordered the mini because he doesn't like, I have a big phone, and I like my big phone, but he doesn't. He likes kind of the normal size one that fits in your pocket. And so whatever screen I was on, the only choices were like normal and mini, but I was on the wrong phone, like altogether. Anyway, so I ordered this phone and it came and it was just like too small. It was like smaller than his current one. So I packed it up today. I'm returning it and gonna get the correct one, but it's just a little bit of a low for me because I thought I was like, this is kind of a surprise because he wasn't expecting it and he wasn't, but I knew he would like it even though he wouldn't get it for himself, But now it's like whatever. Now it's like 2 weeks on back order and he's kind of getting it. So that's my low. Trying to be a good gift giver, but didn't really work out.
You still were. It was just maybe in the implementation. But still, Monk is going to get a phone he wouldn't have gotten for himself, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's so true. This is so true. Okay, well, any other words of encouragement before we sign off on our walk today?
I guess I would just say keep taking care of yourself. Make a little time to do a walk, or make sure you talk to good friends and drink good coffee.
Yeah.
We just got to
lots of water.
Take care of ourselves. Oh, absolutely. Lots of water.
Yeah. And then I'll just close this off with like this little closing thought. Although I don't know how, do I know how to end it? I don't know how to end our live call, but we'll try. Oh no, I see the button that I can push. I just want to wish all of you just a day, a week full of both sunshine and salsa.
Hey, Sunshine Parenting friends, thanks so much for joining Sarah and me on our first walk and talk. My apologies for the squeaking treadmill, which I tried my best to edit out, but it's still there. So I'm deciding to share this anyway, even with the imperfections of the audio. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something, and I hope you'll join us next time we go for one of our walk and talks. Have a great week.